So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy, bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Honor Among Thieves. Your host, as always, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., coming back at you with a great, fantastic story to tell you. Surprise guest today. Honored to have him in my space, Mr. Jason Votrobek. How you doing, sir?
Just to be clear, I wasn't gay for this day.
Listen, everybody's giving me heat over this fucking video I posted.
Just because I tried it once, does it make me gay?
Did you like it?
Well, here's the thing about it. If I cut hair one time, am I a barber?
Yeah, but if you take dick once, it ain't the same shit as cutting hair, bro.
Okay. I didn't do it. I promise. I promise. I didn't do it.
That shit ain't ketchup. You can't just try that shit.
Oh, man.
Bro, I'm just saying.
My first night in prison, I've seen it all. We'll get into that. But listen, this is my story. Let's see how he does today. Listen, I've been told my story on a bunch of other things, but we're going to see if Nelson's going to switch it up a little bit. But I promise you, stay tuned. It's going to get good.
So, first question. What was more enjoyable? Being in the pill mill business or smuggling drugs?
Smuggling drugs.
I figured.
The excitement. The thrill.
Is it like it's an adrenaline thing?
Yeah,
like
it is.
Work and not get caught and all that shit?
Well, the pill game was like a business. It was more,
just for money. It wasn't like...
Yeah, I wasn't in the day-to-day operations.
But smuggling, you were like, yo, I'm doing this shit. This is...
Yeah, because it was something I looked up to since when I was a little kid, and that's what I try to explain to people all the time. When I was a kid, I was around nothing but drug smugglers, watching the movies,
100%.
where I'm from, everything else. So it's kind of like I idolized it. I looked up to it.
Yeah.
It was like...
That's how it was in Miami in the 80s. Like, all the fucking drug dealers, it was like, yo, everybody's making money. The Cubans, the Colombians, all that shit, you know?
So, like I said, in the late 80s, I was hearing stories about drug smuggling. My dad, all my dad's buddies were all drug smugglers. So when they all got out of prison, because back then they didn't get much time in the Fed. So when a lot of them got out, we'd sit around campfires back in late 80s, early 90s, and I'd hear all these stories of them drug smuggling, like dropping planes in on roads. The cops are waiting, like, to put the drugs in the trunk. They were in on it. Like when the feds came in, they like took to like investigated the prosecutors, the judges, attorneys,
sheriffs, all that
shit. Like he moved out of town, so everybody was involved. It was a small town, and they were smuggling from Rosie's over in Bahamas. Like they made that island over there, so. A lot of this stuff was coming in. You can look up the cases. So what was so funny is when I was in the feds, I looked up like Fort Pierce Inlet, like Sebastian Inlet, Fort Pierce Inlet. I put those keywords in on the computer, and then I put in St. Lucie and River County to read all the stories. And there was this one, and I actually know the family, and I didn't realize how big he was. He smuggled in 100 tons of marijuana.
Tons? 200,000 pounds?
200,000 pounds on a barge. So the story so when I got home, I had hit a few people up to find the story. He was actually on the Fort Pierce Pier, standing there while the barge was coming in to like see what was going on. And he seen the Coast Guard or the sheriff's boat coming or whatever. And he like told them like, they're coming. Because he was like watch out guy. So he like took off. And they swung the barge supposedly sideways and jammed it in the inlet or whatever. From rumor has it. And he went and hid at the St. Lucie bar or St. Lucie Inn bar or something. It's like a hotel, like this notorious bar. And rumor has it he paid her $1 million to say he was there the whole time,
just for an alibi.
Yeah,
that's wild.
So stories, as a kid growing up that I heard, the plane clipping the top of the trees, crashing, all the stuff. Kicking the bells out. I just heard so many stories, and as a little kid, I just looked up to it.
Reminds me of the Mickey Monday stuff.
Yeah. I've always thought, when the whole thing came out, get rich or die trying, that was like my whole motto the whole time. It was like, get rich or die trying. And I never thought about it like going to college. I graduated juvenile or high school and juvenile prison, and I walked in a purple gown in prison. It was crazy. I got the pictures to prove it.
Was that your first time getting locked up?
Yes. No. It was the first time in prison, but not the first time getting locked up.
Well, first time serving time.
Yes, in juvenile, I did.
What they lock you up for?
Dealing stolen property.
Okay.
So I got into the marijuana business and trying to sell marijuana because when I was like 14, 15, probably more towards 15, all my buddies were smoking pot. So I thought I would be, get into the pot business, but it was horrible. Like I didn't know the game, didn't understand it. Everybody I dealt with were robbing me, not like robbing me, but selling me bunk because I didn't smoke. I didn't
Selling
know
you
what to look
bullshit,
for.
yeah.
Like they'd put, I didn't understand the game. So they would put like,
They tell you it's an ounce and they were giving you way less and all that.
No,
that
they
kind of
never
shit?
really did that. I'd make them put it on the scale, but they'd put like good shit and put like stems and seeds and garbage in the middle and just put a little bit of stuff on the outside. So, I just, at the end of the day, everything went wrong. I could never make it. I want to say some of my older buddies had stole most of my stuff one time because I'd left it, in a hiding spot, and I guess they were watching me and took it. I still to this day don't know who did it. It was just always chaos. But the guys that I was dealing with, that was buying from, were into like all kinds of stuff. So some of the boys that were stealing these four-wheelers, there were some younger kids around my age that were stealing four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and all kinds of stuff. And all they were doing was riding it. They weren't selling them. So they would like run them, hide them in the woods, and go ride them all the time because they didn't have nothing.
What part of Florida?
Vero Beach, Florida. It's on the East Coast, right north of West Palm Beach. It's a small town. It's all known for citrus and cattle. So I come from a small drug smuggling town that didn't have much going on. It was a good place to live, though. I mean, it was fun as a kid growing up. I'm not going to complain. But these kids, some of the guys I grew up with, they were like stealing dirt bikes, four-wheelers to have fun, stuff like that. And they would hide them in the woods, so we'd go ride them, too, because we knew where they were hiding them. And so my dudes had, running by, I'm like, hey, man, you want to buy some stuff or whatever? So they stole this dirt bike, and they wanted the dirt bike, so I sold it to them. Made a little bit of money off of it, and then these four-wheelers and a bunch of other stuff. So somebody ended up getting busted. I don't know the whole story to this day, because when you're juvenile, you don't get discovery like you do as an adult.
Yeah.
It's totally different. So somebody got busted. They ended up tracking it back to the boys that were taking it. They put all the blame on me. I took it to trial. I beat everything besides stealing stolen property because I got caught with some of the stolen property. So at the end of the day, there was no way of beating it. They gave me a level 6 program for it, and I started out at Martin County Boot Camp. And you want to talk about hell. I'd never seen nothing in my life. Juvenile is on a whole nother level. So when I went to the juvenile detention center,
You said that's the worst time you've ever done in your life.
it's the
that's
worst.
accurate?
Oh yeah, by far. It's
Fuck.
3-4 times worse than any.
And you've been in Fed. You've been everywhere.
I've been all over the place. I've been to a bunch of Fed prisons, been to county jails all over the place. I've been to even notorious downtown Atlanta.
That's wild.
I was the only white boy in the pod. Like 200-something people, and I'm the only white boy. Didn't even have no problems because, like I tell people all the time, if you know how to mind your business and stay in your own lane, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Juvenile, there's no such thing. Staying in your lane. No, mind your business. They're in your business. They're in your stuff. And I tell people all the time, what separates it is in the feds, when you go to prison, you have like race. You have the whites, blacks, and Hispanics.
You have
and then they're structure. And then they're divided in between races. When you get in juvenile, there's not. It's a melting pot. So it's a bunch of state babies that dad is in prison, mom's a junkie, parents don't want them, whatever. They have nowhere to go. Grandparents don't want to handle them. So you have all these kids that are literally have nowhere to go, no future, no nothing. And so at the end of the day, you got to realize that they're trying to survive.
Right.
How hard is it to make it in prison with no money coming in?
I mean, it's hard, but you figure it the fuck out. Wash some clothes or cut some hair or something.
There's no hustles in juvie.
Oh, fuck.
Every prison I went
so
to,
they just rob and steal and do all kinds.
Dude, it's so bad.
Fuck.
It's so bad. It's really bad. And when I tell you, like, they run together, so you'll get a couple, like, bad apples, and then you get all these, like, younger kids, little dorky ones that want to be a part of it, and they join into it, and they get in the mix and everything else, and it just becomes who can outdo who. And you can't leave. So in the feds, I'd never really locked my locker, ever. I literally would leave it open and go out to wreck all day long, come back.
Nobody fucks with it. Yeah.
You have to lock everything up. They're banging stuff off. A guard has to sit in the living quarters, so it's like a U shape, and the table's in the middle, so he can see and everything, just to keep kids from going in and taking each other's, fighting, stomping them out, stealing everything. It's really bad. I've never seen nothing like it. Like I said, I started out Martin County boot camp. I didn't have issues with the kids there. It was the inmates. I mean, not the inmates, but the staff. The staff were just, it got shut down because they killed a inmate, a kid. It was so rough.
What, like they beat him to death?
Yeah, they fucked him up so bad that he died. Every prison I've been to, juvenile, every one of them has been shut down because of violence. So none of them are open to this day.
That's like an infestation ground for child abuse. That's all that comes to mind for me. Like all the abuse, all the weird ass guards, like fucking chomos and shit like that. Yeah. I bet there's a bunch of them there. It's disgusting.
Well, yeah. Well, here's one of the big issues about the juvenile thing. There's no accountability. There's nobody to they have so much control. There's no complaint. There's nothing you can complain to. There's no structure. See, in state prison and the feds, an adult, if the staff get too bad, what do the inmates do?
They complain. BPA, BP9,
no,
all that
they
shit.
whoop the fucking staff.
Well, yeah.
If they get too bad like that, the inmates are going to come together and go against them.
True.
In juvenile, there's no structure. None. They walk all over us. They do whatever, and the kids have nobody to complain to. There's no BPHs. There's none of that stuff. Who do you complain to? They don't know how to write anything up. Right. They don't even have, most of them don't know how to read. Right? Nothing. It's that bad. I can't even explain it. And then the staff want nothing to do because the kids are so out of control and so bad. They're just like, they give up on them.
It's fucking sad, man.
Yeah.
It's
So
like a vicious cycle.
I literally did 7-8 months at Martin County boot camp. Got kicked out of there, caught a couple battery charges. Went to the next program, EIHH. Literally within, I don't even know. It's like 1 or 2 days. I caught 2 more battery charges on Leo's because of a fight. They shipped me out of there, went back to the holdover again. Then I went to EYDC, which is level 8, which was one of the worst ones around. And the only place I was going from there was a level 10, which is 23-1 every day.
Fuck. That sucks.
And it's a 2-year minimum mandatory program. So hardcore. I was at that point where I was going to be there doing that. So
would you say being in juvie kind of pushed you towards the life? Like you're like, nobody gives a fuck about me. Fuck it. I'm just gonna.
No.
You know.
Hell no. I got out of there. I didn't want to do nothing wrong no more because of how bad it was. I was like, if this is this bad, and everybody told me I'd be scared and I didn't want to go to adult prison because they kept fearing us, like, you don't want to go to adult prison. It's 10 times worse. It's 10 times worse.
That's the opposite of what I thought you would have answered, though, because of what happened.
No. When I tell you rough, it was really rough. So, hold on a second. Is that going to interfere with this?
Nah.
Okay.
I could cut all that out.
So, once I got out, I was like, man, I'm not wanting to do this no more. I'm done. I was like, the hell with this. But what happens after 5 or 6 months or a year?
You go right back to what you
forget.
Same old shit, yeah.
I was young. So the issue is I was so young, I didn't learn my lesson, as in really understand. I was still young-minded. I was still everything. So I didn't really have an understanding of, learning the lesson. It kind of just, I'm 18 years old. I'm wilding out, having fun, partying, doing this, doing that. That shit slipped my mind so fast. Before I know it, I'm living with my brother. I'm wanting to have
back
life.
On the street.
Yeah, I'm on the street. I'm wanting to have fun. I'm wanting to have money. I'm wanting to do stuff. So a lot of people got to understand I'm wanting to have fun. I didn't have no money to have fun. So I pretty much, got right back into it. It all started because, again, all my buddies are doing cocaine, partying, having a good time. And, one thing leads to another. Next thing you know.
What is the late 80s?
No, this is early 2000s, late 90s.
Fuck. Okay.
Because you got to remember, I was born in 83. From 16 to 18, pretty much like in the 15s. I did some time when I was 15, and then I got out, and then I went back when I was 16. They held me to 18. I couldn't. I timed them out at 18. I couldn't get out. It was impossible. I just pretty much just tried not to catch no more charges until I was 18, so I can to get out. And when I turned 18, they were able to get. They have to release you, so they released me a couple days before my 18th birthday, and let's see. So, time I was probably 19 years old, I was good for about a year or so. By the time I was 19, I got into hanging around, like, the crowd, partying, having a good time. I wasn't doing no drugs, but just at the parties. And that was right around the time everybody started getting out of smoking pot and doing cocaine. And once they started doing that, there was like a drought that went on. There was hard time, people getting stuff. Well, my next door neighbor to my brother, she was dating this guy. I think she was dating him, but he would always show up with this truck on 26s, back then,
Right,
26s,
the biggest, the big rims, of course.
Yeah, rims, speakers, screams drug dealer. So they were complaining one time, and I was like, I got somebody. I know somebody. So I hit him up. He was over there. I said, hey, let me talk to you real quick. So we got to talking, cutting it up, and he's like, yeah, I got you. So I got some shit for them, and they were like, holy shit, this shit's fire, dude, fire. Like, get us some more. So I go back and get them some more. And before I know it, they're wanting to get it all the time. And I'm like, why am I doing this shit for free? Like, I'm struggling.
Make some fucking money, of course.
So what I did was...
anything worth doing is worth doing for money.
So I would ask them for a few dollars or whatever to do it. And then I was like, what the hell with that? So I wasn't making much money. I had no money left over. I had bought an 8-ball for $150. And I turned it in 4 grams because I got 3.5 because he didn't make it light.
Right.
So I added a little bit of stuff short. I made like 0.8, 0.9s, and I made 4 grams. So I made $50. I turned around, I did it again because it's so quick. So I did it twice in one night. I had enough money now to buy a quarter. I think he sold a quarter to me for, I think the first time, $2.25 or something. So I got a quarter for $2.25.
You know what gets me about drug dealers, man? You guys hustle like a motherfucker, bro. I love that shit.
Well, a lot of people understand selling drugs is not easy.
It's not. It takes a certain kind of person. You got to be a hustler, bro.
It's full time. It's headache. It's full time. Just the headache of getting the product, getting it to them in time so they don't go somewhere else, losing the customer, keeping them all happy.
Selling that shit consistently.
And staying up on top of it. You have no life. You have no fucking life.
100%.
Like, your life is drug dealing. You're staying up all night, sleeping in, and time you wake up, the phone's ringing again.
Yep.
That's just how it works. So, before you know it, I'm selling ounces. Next, I'm buying quarter keys, half keys, kilos, and it just did not stop.
How fast did you go from that 8-ball to your first key? Like, how fast was the progression?
I'd say it's been a long time. I don't want to get messed up here. 6 to 12 months.
That's pretty
not
fast.
Even. Well, the thing is, like I tell people all the time, it's easy to be a drug dealer. I mean, if you could, all you got to do is find a plug of good stuff. It sells itself. You don't have to do anything. And I come from a kind of a small town, but not a small town. So everybody knows me. I know everybody. So it was easy when you grow up somewhere and you know everybody. So literally, I took over everything because it was timing. We were talking about it earlier. Everything's timing. I just happened to fall in the right timing. And this is where I haven't clarified it on a lot of the other podcasts and people. I go in the comments and read a little bit. Everything is timing. I came in a drought.
1,000%.
You'll hear what I said, a drought. This dude had a plug. And when I talk about a plug, I know he was getting 40, 60 bricks a week.
Fuck.
Because if I wanted 5, I could get 5, no problem, on top of like all the other people he was supplying.
That is wild.
So, I mean, one time he hid 5 keys in the back of my old lady's trunk because something was going on. He was by where my little drug stash thing is, and he like whipped in there, and none of us are there. But the car was unlocked because I guess my ex was inside. He popped the trunk and threw him in there and took off. And so what pissed me off, I was pretty pissed off about it because 2 days later, he's like, hey, man, I need to swing by. I'm like, okay, I'm here. What's up? And he's like, dude, I got to get something out of your car. And I'm like, what? Dude, she's been riding around for 2 days with 5 keys in the back.
That is so fucked up.
So I was kind of pissed off at it, but I was young back then. So
right, of course.
Plus, he's my plug. So I'm like, whatever. And he's like, I'll make it right. I'll make it right. So he did. He made it right. He hooked me up for doing it. But at the end of the day, I didn't say too much.
So at this point, you're buying keys and you're breaking down the whole key and you're selling it like retail?
Yes.
Okay.
I never stumped on none of it, never cut none of it.
And you don't. Oh, so you don't mix it, like you're selling it pure.
It's in pure because
Fuck.
That's why it sold itself and I was blowing up so fast.
So what are you buying a key for?
When I first started, I was buying around 18.5.
And when you break it down, what's your profit?
It's pretty good. So if you break it down, say for instance, you're making sometimes. I was averaging back then probably $5,000 a brick, and the only reason why is I wasn't breaking it all down in grams.
Right.
I'm selling ounces, quarters, halves, like that.
All that shit, yeah.
So sometimes it'd be less, sometimes it'd be more. If I just sold the brick, I'd upcharge it $2,000, $3,000. But then when I break it down, so I was selling a lot of grams and stuff like that. But you got to remember also too, it's taking money to do it. When I tell people all the time, like I didn't spend no money, and people are like the mathematical doesn't add up. Well, listen here, dum. I'm talking about like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, big houses.
Yeah, of course.
I'm still going to strip clubs. I'm still going out. I'm still doing stuff. Still spending money, eating out. People don't realize before you know it, you're wasting a lot of money.
You're wasting all the money. Yeah.
So I'm still making $5,000-$6,000 a brick, and within the first year, I'm pushing 5 bricks. A month or more. I'm pushing a brick a week.
So you're making like 25 grand a month?
I'd say that or a little bit more. But you got to remember, one good night in the strip club's $5,000-$10,000.
100%.
So
with the stories you've told me.
But this is when I was young though.
Right.
When I started getting the real money, oh no, it was $15,000-$20,000 nights.
Yeah.
So I would literally walk in and give all my boys their money before I went in because I didn't want them to know I had all the money.
Right.
Because it just became a problem. Once they realized it was the money, all the girls are just sitting there trying to suck you off the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not even paying nobody else attention. The party ends at you.
Because they know you got the money.
Yeah, and they know they're broke.
Yeah.
So, you want to fold them off a little bit of money at the beginning. When you do enough strip clubs. Well, if you want to have fun, that's why rich people hang out with rich people.
That's some of the shit I did when I was making money. Let me tell you. Everybody, I had a similar problem. Everybody wanted to hang out with me because everybody knew I got it. But anyway, this isn't about me. It's about you. So let's get back to, all right, so at this point, you're pushing 5 bricks a month. You're making
That's an average. Sometimes
average.
More, sometimes less.
Sometimes less.
You know how it goes. It's
all
not,
right.
People want to criticize me like, oh, it doesn't, listen, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I make more. I sometimes selling it in lesser quantities and everything else. And
this is still like your early 20s?
19.
Fucking 19. Holy
I'm 19
shit.
years old. This is about right
You're
around
barely an adult.
I guarantee you, time I was 20, I was doing that because I want to say I became a millionaire, had my first million time I was like 21, 22.
So you progress extremely fast in your progression is.
Well, it's all because of good stuff and having. Okay, so a lot of people don't understand this. This is where I explained to, and I explained on Johnny Mitchell thing that broke it down is anybody can be a drug dealer. But the problem of it is everybody thinks there's these Pablo Escobars and these people where you can get all these hundreds of kilos. It's not like that anymore. Everybody's a small time. I just lucked out. It's all timing. Because after I ran in, that he had an issue, something happened, he disappeared with his plug and everybody else. It disappeared because some people got unalived. But the point of what I'm getting at, after that, I literally couldn't even find hardly a kilo of cocaine. And let alone if it was a kilo, if I bought a kilo, it was garbage. To be that lucky to find somebody is the only reason why I blew up that big. It was all timing, the right person. I found a guy that was getting straight bricks because I talk about it had 5-star stamps on it with East Coast, West Coast. I've had the Scorpion, the Ferrari, the Lamborghini symbol. I've had the Playboy Bunny one. I've had all the stamps you can think about. I can go down the list of stamps. I can tell you which ones are good ones, which ones are bad ones. I even had the pink flake. And I had they call it Peruvian pink flake, and nobody liked it. It was the most prettiest key I've ever seen in my life.
But it was garbage.
It's garbage. Nobody liked it.
All right, so you're progressing super fast. By the time you're 21, at 19, you're pushing 5 bricks on average a month. How does that progress in those 2 years? Like, what are you doing once you hit 21? How much are you pushing?
Well, that's the problem. So probably about 15, 16 months in, 18 months in, that issue happens with him. So I went from getting 5+ keys a month. But you got to remember, so at the very beginning, so here's another thing other people got to understand is, at the very beginning, I was making really good money. It went from 18 right away to 21 to 25 because the prices, remember I told you there was a big drought going on. So the prices just kept going up, fast. Towards my end, when I was like 24, I think it was, 23, 24, bricks here, my last brick I bought was $32,000. It was so dry. They were between 28 and 32, and a really good but good quality was 32,000. And you couldn't make no money. Even if you sold them $1,000 an ounce, that's only $4,000 profit.
Right.
It's
not worth it.
It's not really worth it. And then if I was back then I wasn't selling. Once I got to that level, I wasn't selling grams and 8-balls that much. I was selling quarter keys, ounces, bricks. So I couldn't sell a brick no more. I was going to buy. It's called cut. I was getting in West Palm at the flea market, and it looks just like real cocaine. Only thing it doesn't, it numbs you. It has, it's flake. It's absolutely gorgeous. The only thing it doesn't do is melting your hand like butter, like cocaine does, melting your hand. But other than that, nobody could tell. And I'd put a little bit on it, and everybody would just complain. And I was like, I tried it a couple times. I bought a kilo of it for, I think, $900, I think it was, of the cut. And I tried it one time cut it, and people were complaining because my connect was, everybody's just used to me getting good shit.
Right.
And so after like the 15, 16, 18 months, I can't remember. It's been so long ago. So much stuff happened. I tried to find other connects. So I started going to Miami, going everywhere else, trying to find a plug. And everybody's a yes man. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I want 5 bricks. And they're all like, and I'm like, what do you mean? You just told me you can get no problem. So now they're running around, getting a brick here, getting a brick there, getting a brick here. And I'm not used to getting bricks with 5 different stamps and no stamps at all. And I'm thinking, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I'm finding out they're garbage. They're putting good Coke on the top and garbage in it.
Trash,
so like they'll press it up and then put a good layer of it. And then so when you dip in it,
test it,
and everything is good. My testers are like, oh, it's fucking fire. It's fire. And you break down, it's straight garbage. And then they say they can get 5 and they show you up with 1. So it went from me growing so fast, making so much money to like almost falling on my face. So I was like, I can't do this no more. I'm getting like, not like robbed at gunpoint, but like robbed with fake stuff, this, that. It became a headache. And I was like, dude, I can't keep doing this. I was addicted to the money and lifestyle.
But it was too much of a risk at that point. Like, you're not even making money. You're risking going to fucking prison. Like, it's.
Well, it's just like anything. I was always told, the first time, don't worry about it. You don't got a criminal history because all mine was juvenile.
Right.
You're just going to get 5 years. So I'm like, I never thought about that. I was thinking like 5 years for this. I got this. I'm like, 5 years, I can do it. And that's what I want to teach everybody and tell everybody now. It's no, like my first time in trouble as an adult, they asked for life. I went to trial on a life sentence. So, the thing is my first plea deal was 47 years in the feds. 47 in the feds. First plea deal.
47.
So at the end of the day, I couldn't do it no more. It was to get out or find something. So we took a cruise over to Bahamas, and so we took a day cruise over there. Or I think a 2-day cruise. It was a 2-day cruise to Bahamas, and we went over to La Calle, and we started trying to, work up a connect over there because my family has a house in Bahamas. I've been over there as a kid, quite a few times. So I was like, let me just go on over here and try to work something up. I get over to Bahamas, run into the same fucking thing. Everybody, yeah. Everybody's trying to sleep. So when you go in a tourist spot, motherfucker on every corner, what you want? And, they got Coke, pot, they got everything.
Yeah,
so
immediately the light bulb for you is like, let me see what's up over here.
Yeah. So I'm like, let's go over there because I know there's dealers everywhere. So I get there and these dudes are like, yeah, I got this. So I'm like, okay, we'll get an ounce. Let's see what kind of shit. They go get an ounce so I can see the price. I'm building it up because grams are still $50. So they're doing American price, so they're getting it for nothing. So I'm like, oh, this shit's pretty good. So I'm like, hey, can you get a brick? And they're like, oh, yeah. And like nobody could do it. I'm thinking like, how in the hell is this happening? Like, what are you talking about? Like Bahamas was like the spot back in the 80s, the 90s. So nobody could get nothing. And we almost got to the point where we were giving up on our like second or third time that we were trying to get a plug. And one of my buddies, there's this one black dude, Bahamian, that would ride through the strip in the tourist spot all the time. And it was like one of the nicest cars. And I think back then he had like 20s on it. And 20s were like a joke over here. My dude had 26s.
26s.
So, and he would ride around, big chain, everything else, cruising through all the time. So my boy just like jumps in his vehicle. And he's like, hey, bro, what's up, man? He's like, oh, no. And like hops in. And he's like, what the fuck you doing? He's like, now you're going to drive us around. You're my taxi now. So we like hop in the back. And he's like, well, y'all going to get out? And we're like, no, you ain't. And he's like, all right, well, then if I'm driving you around, you're going to my bar to eat some of my wings or whatever, like get some food. So we went to his bar and we're hanging out. And we get to know him. Well, didn't realize he was somebody big. So we got plugged in with his people. And so I was getting him for 13.5.
Did you do that intentionally, or did you stumble upon that? Like,
stumbled across. Just
that's crazy.
Just literally was like at the point of giving up, and
then
my
boom,
boy,
you just find this fucking guy.
He just kept cruising the block. Every time we go over there, he's always making loops through there, and he's not doing nothing. Like he's like, I don't know if he was just stalking out tourist girls and trying to hit on them or whatever. So we just jumped in the car and just, we're crazy. We were wild back then. And I tell you, wild. Like, don't let the no tats and comb over. That's what I told him in prison, man. Don't let the comb over fool you. We did some wild shit, and all my boys will tell you.
Key in a country you fucking don't even live in. That's wild.
Yeah, so
some wild shit.
We jumped in, and we got plugged in. Come to find out, I want to say my first one I paid 13.5 over there, and then I think it went down to 13. But we ran into more issues over there too. So getting one was nothing. But I want 5. I want 5. I want 3-5 to come back every time.
Right.
So I didn't get plugged in with 5 that many often. Every time I go over there, they'd be like, hey, it's good. Come on, let's go. So we'd shoot over. And it'd be like, oh, we only got 1. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they only this many came in. So they would only get like 300-400 bricks. People are like, what do you mean? That's a lot of coke. No, it's not. Not when you're supplying all the drug runners coming across, all the drugs on the island, whoever else is buying it. So when it comes in, so from what I understood, what they told me is they come on like them, like you see them banana looking like one motor, like with a rudder on it, like 150, and they're like,
yeah.
So they island
Those
hop
dinghies.
so they island hop up through Dominica or Puerto Rico or somewhere, Haiti. They come off of those islands. They shoot up to the islands to the Bahamas. So like if the weather's bad, they have to hide out on the island because it's too rough in the little boat. Or if the Coast Guard's in the area, they hide out. They have all these other things. Then they make stops on other islands and probably sell some on the way. So time they get to this last island right here in Freeport, Lacaya, there's nothing left.
They got nothing left.
Or it's already spoken for, or I got there too late, showed up, or I got there and the dope is not there, bad weather, police, whatever it is. And then I'm waiting for days and days and days. I'm like, man, fuck this. I'm out of here, dude. So we go home and the dope shows up the next day. So it's always a problem. We just kept running into problems and problems and problems. And it made these dive tanks. I'm going to do a video on it. I got one of the dive tanks. So one of my videos, I didn't realize somebody I grew up with had one of my dive tanks. So he hits me up on Instagram. He's like, bro, I got one of your dive tanks still. You want it? And he's like, I was going to throw it. He's like, I was going to throw it away, but I hold on to it because it creates such a great conversation.
That's wild.
So I got the dive tank. I'm gonna do a video on it, taking it apart and explaining to people how it worked because we had bladders put in it where you can still put air in it.
Nuts on TikTok.
So it's one of the originals, the very first one I made too.
All right, guys, taking a quick break from the podcast to talk to you about Gus Villa Jewelry. Yo, let's be real here for a second. If you're rocking plain jewelry in Miami, of all places, you are doing it 100% wrong, my boy. Step your game up with Gus Villa Jewelry, the plug for real Cuban link gold and silver chains. And of course, the cleanest Rolexes in all of Miami. This isn't factory made or watered down or any of that stuff. This is high quality, custom, handmade stuff that shines from here to the moon. It turns heads, starts conversations, and makes you look fresh. Gus has something that'll level up your whole vibe. And because you're locked in here with us at Honor Among Thieves podcast, you're getting a hookup. Use the promo code Montana at checkout. Get 5% off your entire order. That's right, 5% off. Go check them out at GusVillaJewelry.com or pull up on them in the Diamond District down here in downtown Miami. GusVillaJewelry.com. Again, that's GusVillaJewelry.com. And tell them your boy Montana sent you. Gus Villa Jewelry. Now back to the podcast. About this whole process, none of it is like, maybe I should you don't have the thought of like, maybe I should take this as a sign and not do this. All this shit keeps going wrong.
No.
You're like, fuck that. I'm going to get this fucking coke no matter what.
I'm going to get it. If we even got to go further. So one of the stories I haven't told, we were going to even get into doing the blood diamond things. Because my boy come up with this great thing. We were going to fly over to Africa and start eating, the diamonds.
Eating the diamonds and bringing them over.
Back. Because it was like the new thing at the time. So we were like, hell yeah. And we were going to get into doing that. But the problem of it was everybody kept talking about how they would kill us over there real quick and how dangerous it was. So I was like, cool, let's do it type thing. I was young and dumb to all kinds of stupid stuff.
One of my boys, his dad died because he swallowed a diamond. He was smuggling diamonds from Africa.
How can you? That's one thing I looked up.
He fucking died.
How do you die from it?
I don't. Yeah. Like it fucks up all your organs and bro. Diamonds are sharp.
I didn't even think about it because I was like, we'll just put it in baggies and condoms and we'll just eat the shit. Like we don't have to worry about it busting.
But then if it ruptures,
I mean, it was just a thought because I was in a drug. I was like, thinking like that, and
you were a reckless motherfucker.
I was reckless, dude. I was dumb. I was into everything. If it could be making money. Yeah, I'm over it. I'm retired these days. It's done. I get a license next time. Yeah, I had to retire.
All right.
So,
but anyway, all right. So you're Bahamas. You're trying to make this happen. You're getting one key at a time.
Yeah. So my guy, I found out that my dude ran all the underground casinos over there. So the Bahamians couldn't gamble. So he ran all the underground casinos, and he was getting them through Canada. He told me Canada. You can't believe these people. So, anyways. He told me he was getting them from Canada to the port, all the slot machines and the tables and everything else. Right. So I'm like, what do you mean get it to the port? Like, Bahamians can't get one. He's like, dude, I know everybody on this island. I got control of everything. I'm like, perfect. Okay. So I was told, I didn't realize that I went to school with somebody that's family was part of the Cali Cartel, Colombia.
Right.
Because everybody knows back in the 80s when all the cartels were feuding and warring with Pablo Escobar, they were all trying to kidnap each other's kids, family members. So they had moved here to brought the kids to go to school here and be protected. So I didn't realize that, and somebody had introduced me to them, and had nothing to do with it, but we went down there and met their cousin. He was running an operation, and literally the day we got there, he just got released. They just paid $6 million because he got kidnapped in El Salvador.
Ransom? $6 million?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So he went to Ecuador, El Salvador, one of those countries like north of Costa Rica, right there, and he got
Nicaragua.
One of those countries. I can't remember. So long ago, and he just got He was kidnapped for like 2-3 months. And I don't know if it was 600 kilos that they took to, and I don't know the whole story. I just remember bits and pieces of it. But make a long story short, the day he got back in the country, you think he'd be with family doing other stuff? No, he was with us trying to work up a deal. Yeah, he's like meeting and putting he's going right back to business. But that's how it is down there.
Yeah.
So I literally get off the plane, and my boy was like, "Hey, dude, like, watch out, because when you get off the plane, when we walk out, just don't freak out." And when you walk out of the thing, there's like all these little Colombians, like they're real short, and they're all staring, looking at you, like two gringos walking through. And I didn't see no white people down there the whole time. So I found out that everybody thought we were like feds and stuff, because we're like 6'1", 6'2", and they're all like looking at us, staring at us as we're going on.
And Cali's a wild part of Colombia. That
it
shit
is
is crazy.
I've
To
seen
this day,
car bombs go off. I've seen a
this day.
dude get his unalived. I've seen some of the craziest shit go down.
Cali's wild.
So when we walked out, 2 little 4-door Zuzu pickup trucks pull up, both of them, and guys get out with fully automatic guns. So we get in, they're bulletproof vehicles. We go on, like, we're literally not stopping at red lights, stuff like. If we could run it, we'd run it. They jump up on the sidewalk, go around, and I'm thinking, like, dude, why are we doing this? Like, what's the need?
Because they'll rob you at a fucking red light.
No, that's where they do the kidnappings. They say, you see all these scooters? He says they'll pull up and surround you with guns and kidnap you. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, not you, but, the people you're with, they will. Like, you're nobody. So Cali was pretty wild. I didn't think much about it. We snuck out a couple times. We weren't allowed to go out. They didn't want us to. And we went out one night, and they showed up at 6:30 in the morning in our room. And they were really, really pissed because we went out, and the word got around that we were out hitting all the clubs.
gringos were on the street.
Yeah, okay. And he said the only reason why y'all didn't get killed or kidnapped is because they think y'all are federal agents, and that doesn't look good.
Fuck.
He said that's the only reason why we got away with it. So, I mean, I got videos. I got videos of, like, up in the jungle or in the taxi cab, and the cops are, like, chasing the taxi cab. Like, it was wild. I got a lot of cool videos and pictures of Colombia. I've been to one of Pablo Escobar's house, too. The whole house is wrapped in huge slabs of marble, one of his houses. So they took us there to go see one of Pablo's old houses. I got to see some pretty cool stuff down there. We went to a nightclub. Listen to this great story. So we went to this nightclub one night, and when we came back in the next time, we're like, hey, let's go back to that same nightclub. And they're like, no, you can't. I'm like, why? And he's like, oh, well, the other cartel that owns the other one or whatever got mad at them. So they had somebody throw out grenades while everybody was in line getting out. And did a drive-by with grenades.
Jesus Christ.
Like, so you go by, you can see the sidewalk all busted up with the grenades. They slung grenades, killed a bunch of people. So that's how wild it is down there. I'm literally on the balcony. So we're at the family, the Cali Cartel, and they have this 11-story, their own 11-story building. So each floor is 3,500 or 4,500 square foot. The elevator opens up to each family member, and they have the penthouse on the top. There's a tennis court, pool, everything at the very top on the roof. So he has the top floor, and we're out on the balcony eating dinner, and the servants are coming out giving us food and stuff, and you just see big old mushroom cloud. I'm like, what the hell? And he's like, they're just sending a message. I'm like, oh, what was it? And he's like, oh, that's just a car bomb. I'm like, just a car bomb?
Just a car bomb?
Just a car bomb.
Oh, yeah, that's
just a car bomb.
Somebody just destroyed one of our fucking vehicles. Who cares?
Yeah, well, no, I took it as they were sending a message. He's like, just sending a message. So,
it was them blowing up someone else's car.
They didn't tell me. He just said, we're just sending a message. That's all he said. Bro. Because I got in trouble one time asking questions. You're like, you don't ask questions down there. I had to leave the country instantly. Put me on a plane, send me back.
That's fucking nuts.
Because you not, like, you don't ask somebody like, hey, what's your family do? What are you into? Because they're like, oh, who are you? You don't ask questions down there.
100%.
They'll fucking kill you. So I learned real quick just to stay quiet, do what I need to do. And so literally I could get keys out of there roughly around $3,000 per brick on a boat.
Fuck.
I had to give my Connect in Bahamas a quarter of the shipment to come in. So I had roughly around like 8,000 or 9,000 a brick.
Like out of courtesy? You were his supplier?
No, now I'm the supplier. Instead of supplying them, my cost is they would get it in the port and give it to me, but I had to give them a quarter of the shipment. So if I got 100 bricks, they would get 25.
So I got you. Okay.
So I'd give them 25 bricks to get my 75 in. It was easier than paying them because now they wanted the drugs because they could make more money, do whatever they wanted to do. I didn't care what they were going to do with it. So at the end of the day,
so you were spending $300,000 a trip.
No, at the beginning I did small amounts because I wanted to see how the operation. Because you got to remember, I don't know if these dudes are setting me up or lying. I don't know. I'm just like, listen. So my dude was like, however you want to do it, I'll send whatever. I got shipments going everywhere on these. So they went in container ships. He'll get on in container ship. You just got to get it off. So I was like, okay. So we did small amounts. So we started out with like 5, 10, 15 keys just to see how it's going to operate. I didn't want to do something big and get busted or a big setup. So I was like, let me just test the water and let's build it up.
Obviously, they probably owned the Colombian government, so to get it out was easy, right?
Yeah, so they could get it out any way, which way you wanted, is what he told me. It's not a problem getting out of the country. It's a problem.
It's a problem getting into the United States.
No, it's a problem getting off the boat because it pulls into a port in another country.
Right.
So that's the whole problem is you can get it out of all those countries all day long.
It's getting off the boat.
You can go to Mexico right now and get all the coke you want. They're just going to say, well, good luck getting across the border. Mm-hmm. That's your problem now.
Right.
So a lot of people don't understand is the Bahamas is going to be the 80s again. So with the border being shut down, I promise you 100% you're going to see this route, the news, you're going to start seeing it flooding. Everything's going to be coming from Bahamas again. I promise you on that. Because when they shut the border down, so people are like, oh, why are you telling on this, telling on that? Let me explain something. Just like prison, the cops know every hiding spot. They know every hustle you do. 100%. Like, so once we change, they start looking those patterns. Once we realize they're on them patterns, what do? We flip it again. We're not flipping to new stuff. We're just going from one hiding spot to the next hiding spot, one hustle to the next hustle. They're too busy over here looking at this. We done flipped it back over here. So once they start looking over here, they're like, damn, they done switched it up on us. It's the same thing out here. Like, people don't realize this shit's been going on forever. So all this stuff, you putting up stuff is all bullshit. People got to realize that, it's just cat and mouse. We got to be lucky every time. They got to be lucky one time.
100%.
But Bahamas is going to be fired back up like you never seen before. I promise you. It's going to be the new 80s again.
I believe it. All right. So tell me about so it starts progressing. Obviously, you start getting the keys out of Colombia, going through the Bahamas. You give them a quarter. From the beginning, that was the deal with them? Like, you give them a quarter of everything?
Yes, quarter of everything.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell me about how are you getting it through that? So that guy, you got the guy with the rims and all that shit that owns all that shit over there in the Bahamas still? Right? No.
So the guy over here, he left and went back to Mexico. He was a Mexican.
The guy in the Bahamas was a Mexican?
No. The guy over here that I was getting from the beginning was Mexican. He went
I'm saying in the Bahamas.
Yeah, so the guy in Bahamas had underground casinos. He was the one that set everything up. Yeah. So I'm paying the people 25% of the shipment to get in. He knows everybody on the island. He knows everything. So I get that. It starts going smooth. So I start upping the amount of coke that's coming through. So I started out bringing it through with dive tanks. I can get 3-4 bricks in a dive tank, and I had quite a big container, a bunch of them on the back. I'd bring it that way. And then when it got to the point where I started getting too much coke, only thing I was doing is put it in like a type of a laundry bag net. You know what I'm saying? Like a net with holes. And one of the old drug smugglers had told me, he says, don't ever not put weight in it because you ever see the videos where they're throwing the bundles over and it's just floating? Yeah. And you just go pick it up. And they're like, you dumbasses, we got all the weight. Right. So then he was like, do not put too much weight where it goes straight to the bottom because they'll dive down there and get it. So a lot of people don't understand they're not going to bust you out in the middle of the ocean. They're going to wait until you get international water. So now you're only in a couple 100 foot of water at the most. You might be in 100, 120 foot of water. They wait till you get 60 foot of water to bust you. So you don't want it to go straight down. So you only put enough weight in it to where it like travels, like the current, because the current's going to pull it. And you want it to pull and just keep going. It might be, so you got to figure out the ideal weight where it like sinks it, but it like, goes forever. So that was one of the tricks that we did. So it got to the point.
It's like a fucking science.
The thing is it got to be too much where you can't really hide it on the boat. Just put it on the damn boat. They're not going to fuck with you over there. It's only when you get here. And if they're going to pull you over and take you, because they ended up getting me one time on a dry run. I'll get to that. They tear your goddamn boat apart. And if they think it's in there, they can take a chainsaw to it. They will literally fire up a chainsaw and cut that son of a bitch in half. If they can prove it's on there in a hidden compartment, they can cut your boat up without having to pay you. But if it's not there, they have to pay for it. So don't think they won't do it. So my guy was like, listen, the best thing to do is get rid of the shit. Don't hide in the boat. They'll cut it out. So I started getting to the point where we're waiting. We just put it in the front cubby up there and just come on back. Then it got to the point where that got too risky, and I was like, the hell with this. So when the currents come together, they create a weed line out there. You can look it up. They're great for fishing and everything else. They create weed lines. So anything floating in the ocean where the two currents push it together and creates a weed line. So what we were planning on doing once we got to a bigger level, I was going to have another boy out there fishing that weed line, just going out, they're probably sometimes 6, 10, 12 miles out. So it just looks like a boat going out there, which there's hundreds of boats out there fishing. And then have a tracking device where he can see where I'm at. And when I'm coming across and I see where he's at, I can throw it off and he can intercept where we don't even stop and join up together. Where literally I just sling it out with a tracking device where it's floating right there, and he's going to be within less than half a mile from me or mile, and he's just going to intercept the bag, put it in the boat, continue fishing while I come on in. And then if they yank me, because every time they've ever yanked me, they've always yanked me within a half mile from the coast. Every time. They've never intercepted me way out there. So 10, 12 miles out, they're not paying attention to me. And I'm not slowing down. So literally I would see the weed line and we'd throw it out as we're going past. And the currents would just keep it in that weed line because the two currents are pushing together. So just come on in, empty. But meanwhile, your boat out there fishing pulls up your bag. And they continue fishing the rest of the day while you come on in.
You're a creative motherfucker, bro. Yeah.
So that was going to be the process that we were going to when we started to bake. But the problem was I finally did a 100-key shipment. And the very first time that I was over trying to pick it, do a big shipment, they tried to kidnap me.
Fuck. It's a whole nother problem.
Yeah. So they, I don't know who they were. I just found out some new gossip just recently through somebody over there. But they rolled to the parking lot. So my boys were in front of me. We were walking through the parking lot, and cars are backed in. It's at the hotel where our boat's pulled up. You can pull your boat up to the hotel. You can stay in the hotel right there in the parking lot beside it. And it's not like in the tourist spot. It's not in the city. It's kind of like on this little canal, on this little cutoff road. And we like it because it's not in the, we don't want to be, when we're there picking up, we don't want to be in the public side. We don't want people to see us. We want to stay in the most secluded area as possible. And so the car pulls up and they jump out and drag me in. Luckily, I had a pistol on me. So when they were wrestling me in the car, I ended up getting one of the dudes in the headlock. When they came in the car, we fell in, and I had him in a headlock with a gun to his head, and one's on top of me, and I was on top of the other one. And I put a gun to the driver, and I told him to stop. And when he stopped, the one dude gets off me, and I have the other guy still in the headlock. Well, me not thinking, I should have been smart, got out the car with the dude. But I didn't. I just got out. I'm fucked up. Never been in a situation before. I'm not a gangster. I ain't tatted up. Ain't no gang member. So, anyways, I get out and I got the gun pointed at them. I'm thinking, now there's 3 of these dudes. Where's their guns? They didn't pull no guns out or none. They're just staring at me. Now I got to walk at least a quarter mile or better back to the hotel.
Fuck.
So, luckily it's right at a 3-way. It's a little 3-way stop sign, and luckily there was people there. They, in their yard, out in the front yard, there's some houses right there. And so they're just looking at me, and they said something in some different language. And they got in the car and they stared at me while they pulled away. So the next time I came over, we were so we didn't even go back we went back to the hotel and got our shit and went straight out and stayed a couple miles off the coast on the boat on shifts, because I was like, fuck that. I figured they're going to come back and kick the door in. In the hotel, I was like, the hell with this. We're going to stay out here. So I made them boys bring the drugs out to me. The next time they tried to kill me, so we were walking to the same parking lot, and I caught out of the corner of my eye, seen this dude coming, but it wasn't just the look, that head down, looking, he's trying not to be nonchalant, but his eyes are looking, and how he was coming with his hands down low. I was like, dude, something ain't right. So I kind of peeled away, and he chased me around the car trying to unload a clip on me. And we had a cooler, so whenever we would go over there, I would bring an empty cooler. I didn't have time to fish, and I didn't want to be out there doing stuff. So I would just trade off stuff. So I'd bring them beer, because they cost so much money to get stuff in over there. So I'd bring them Budweiser, Bud Light in a bottle, because a lot of fishermen, they sell it. And I'd bring them chicken wings, all kinds of stuff that they pay a lot of money for. And then he would trade me out fish. So they'd load my cooler up with conch, lobster, fish. So it looked like I've been on a whole week fishing trip over there.
Yeah.
So it didn't I'd have all the fishing rods on the boat. I'd have everything, all my gear, everything. And then I'd have this cooler slap full of fish, conch, everything. So I'm assuming they thought it was full of drugs. So they were going to rob it. So they took the cooler. I left that bitch there and everything. So they got fish.
How disappointed were they when they opened that cooler? They were like, fuck!
Yeah, really disappointed.
Pussies. That's what you
Yeah,
get for being
so-
a bunch of motherfuckers.
Anyways, I ended up getting the dope coming home, and I was over it. I was done. I'm just thinking in my mind, like, they're going to get me. I done made tons of money. I'm in my young 20s. I done made millions and millions of dollars. I didn't have to worry about nothing.
What are you at this point? Are you selling wholesale? The whole brick?
Yes, I'm selling pretty much wholesale. I'm not breaking it down anymore. A lot of people don't know I'm going. I have a boat totally somewhere else hidden. By this time, I don't even use my boat or my friend's boat.
Right.
I have a whole nother boat. So my boat's sitting. I'm using another boat. I just literally disappear for a day, go down the Jupiter, go out Jupiter Inlet, shoot across. So all the boys that knew what was going on, they didn't know about my new operation. They thought I was just not doing nothing. Meanwhile, I'm making moves with somebody else. And so I switched it up and doing my own thing. And that was it got to the point where it just wasn't worth it anymore. I just had my daughter. I come home and she's laying on my chest sleeping. And
How much money are you making at that point? Like, you still get in there for $3,000 a key?
No, well, the time I pay everybody and everything goes on, I'm around $9,000 a brick probably. But the problem of it is it's consistent. I'm getting my dope.
Right.
What
are you
selling
selling
them? I'm selling them back here for, depending how close they are and what they buy, 26 to 28,000.
Bro,
I'm doubling my money.
making almost $20,000 a key.
So, so I'm making good money. I'm bringing in the money. I'm sitting good. Let's just say that. So once they try to kill me, I was over it. I'm like, I'm done with this shit, dude. Like, they can keep it. They're going to get me. It's just a matter of time. So I pretty much lay low and I laid on the couch. My daughter's sleeping on my chest one day, and that's when the whole other venture started in. But meanwhile, you got to remember, I was in the marijuana operation too. So while I was running all that stuff, some boys came to me. I was funding the big weed operation too. I had a couple grow houses going, but that shit didn't pan out. Growing weed's hard. It's not simple.
No,
Between
but,
the flies,
and
the
compared
mats
to the
and-
profit you were making in cocaine, it wasn't even.
I tried to get into it because I wanted to get out of the cocaine. I was thinking about my exit from the cocaine business because how difficult and hard. It's just not easy. I don't care what anybody says. To find a good plug, it's easy to find a good plug. To keep a good plug is really hard. They're getting knocked off. Their plug is something's happening. It never stay. I've never seen somebody stay consistent in the drug trade ever. You're always looking for a new plug. So I'm like, the hell with this. I want to control it. So I thought about start growing pot. So I had invested into this company called Microbrew Fertilizer. So we started our own fertilizer company, and what we were doing is we're knocking off the best products. So whoever had the best fertilizer, hydroponic fertilizer, we had a chemist in Canada. We'd send it up there and they reverse it, and we'd knock it off and put a new name on it. So we called Microbrew Fertilizer. You can look it up. So we were doing that. So I got into the weed business. And I was like, dude, I'm going to get into this. So I started funding all kinds of stuff. I had tons of money. So I'm, backing all kinds of stuff, funding things, loaning money to people, building people's businesses. Some boys came to me and wanted me to finance their big weed operation. And I was connected. This time I was connected in with all the big weed people out there in California. So I set these boys up with them. And we're going out and buying like the whole mountain. So they're like growing on the mountains up in the north and like
Over
have
there,
big
like
farms.
in the Green Triangle over there. in
Yeah,
the north,
so literally, like my boys are going out there and going sample what's going on before they and buying the whole fucking mountain. Like we're buying mountains. I mean, the feds took $3 million from us in cash in money shipments. So we were bringing anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pounds back to Florida a month, and I financed most of it. And so I don't know the whole story, but the money, they would never hit the drugs. They always just took the money. So they shipped a $2 million shipment of money out to re-up, and they took the money. We had warehouses out there, warehouses here. We did it all through railroads and trucking companies, and we had the warehouses with business names on them, and legit businesses and all kinds of stuff, and had it. It was pretty cool. It's like, so you'll see some of my shirts and some of my things. It's called Showtime. So the business was called Showtime. And we had shirts made, so everywhere I went all the time, I'd wear the shirts and stuff like that when we went out, like just because it was pretty catchy. Showtime. People were like, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's just our business. And
just a business.
Just a business. So they ended up we shipped out another $1 million out of a different spot, and the DEA took it too. So it was pretty wild and crazy how that worked. But
and throughout this whole time, you never caught any heat from cops? Nothing?
Never. Well, you got to remember, I had a lot of cops on payroll. I had Coast Guard. So, like, Coast Guard would be like, hey, Jay, they would send word to somebody like, hey, we're like, tell Jason to, we're going to be patrolling in this area. So once they were patrolling in this area, I wouldn't make no runs. Once they told me they went, so not all the times they were accurate because they didn't know about the other crew going out or whatever.
Right.
I had a lot of law enforcement keeping an eye on me. They would send word over. I had law enforcement. One of my boys had a DEA agent on payroll, so we knew a lot of stuff. I just gave one of the DEA agents the recording where one of my co-defendants tried to wire up on them. I got all the proof. I got it all sitting in the bank. I can promise you that. It's pretty interesting, all because you got to remember I went to trial both times, so I got all the discovery. I got everything.
How far after all this do you catch the case, the federal case?
Not very long after this, a couple years. So, I mean, the FBI's been visiting me twice since I've been home, trying to get me to turn on the crooked cops. I'm like, dude, I already did my time. Like, they want the cops. And it's like, what are you going to do for me now? Like, why would I want to do that? Like, fuck that. Like, my cops that I had that liked me, they didn't do nothing to me. Like, they actually gave me all the great. That's how I was able to stay on the radar. Don't get me wrong. My name was mentioned a lot, but they never came after me because the main ones, they said that they didn't do nothing. They're just like, we had bigger fish, other people to fuck with. So I never had no problems ever, really. Everybody around me didn't really have too many problems. But you got to remember, I was pretty low key. I didn't drive around in crazy stuff. I didn't have big rims, didn't do none of that. Everything I had was pretty low key. The house that I had, you can look it up, the house that they raided. I had 5 houses, but only one in Inver County. And it's just my original house when I bought it when I was 21. Nothing special. I drove around just in brand new, like, diesels, 4 doors or whatever. I didn't have nothing crazy. My old lady had a Yukon. My other houses, we'd have S550, S63 Mercedes, all the cool stuff. We had every car besides Bugatti between all my co-defendants. But I would never do it in my hometown. So when we go to these other towns, they don't know who the fuck you are. They don't know nothing. We go to strip clubs and I'm talking about blow money, dude. Like, literally, like, walk in. So it got to the point where I'd give my boys their money first. I'd be like, here's a couple hundred, give them $1,000 a piece. Because, I got to tell people all the time, why does rich people hang out with rich people,
Yeah, because they don't have to give them any fucking money.
There you go.
Are you kidding me?
So rich people hang out with rich people for one reason, and I had to learn the hard way. Because if you want to go out and have fun, and you're the only one that has money, and all your boys, your girls, you have to pay for them if you want to have fun. So you got to the point where I was like, damn, dude, I'm gonna be a lonely motherfucker. Or I pay for my friends to go out. So it got to a point where I was just paying. I didn't care. I had so much fucking money. It didn't matter. So I learned, like, we go out, I would give them the money. And I would give them the money. And the reason why I would give them the money up front is because if I didn't give them the money and I went into the strip club and they see me handing the money and I was the money man, what the problem it would cause was the girls would be like, well, why were we fucking with him? He's the money man. So they would sit all on me and fight over me and not show my boys a good time. And then they'd be sitting over like, man, what the fuck, man? So I would tell them all the time, like, what fucking idiot told him I had the money? Which one of you dumb assholes did it? And they'd be like, I did, man. And I'm like, see, there you go. I wouldn't wear watches, Rolex. I wouldn't wear nothing. I would dress down everything else because, and they would tell me all the time, like, you don't got all the money. I'm like, I don't. They're lying to you. And so once they got to know me, they're like, dude, you really had us fooled. Like, we tell by watches and shoes. We can tell how it carried. And they're like, you didn't carry.
You weren't wearing a watch. You wearing, like, Sperry's.
Dude, I'd wear flip-flops most of the time. I had to pay to get in a lot of strip clubs because they wouldn't let me in. Oh. I drove a 2002 Hyundai Sonata most of the time when I went out. Dude, it was beat up.
Get the fuck out of here.
2002 Hyundai. I bought it at auction for $900.
That's funny.
And the reason why I did it was because...
bought it out of
So the reason why I did it was... Literally, it became a problem. It became a problem that I would ride down the road in my trucks or anything else, and people would hit my old lady up and be like, oh, guess what? I seen Jason, or hey, what were you doing this side of town? Hey, what were you doing over there? So I bought this car and tinted the windows, and it was a beat up, ugly thing, and literally, I swear to God, nobody knew. I literally had to swerve at people, and then I'd text them like, what the hell? And they're like, I didn't know that was you, man. So I loved it. I didn't have to worry about nobody messing with me or nobody doing anything.
That's great.
So I was pretty much at the point where I was like, dude, I'm taking this thing everywhere. I'd go valet park it and want it in VIP at strip clubs, and they'd tell me no, and I'd be like, pull out my wad of money. I'm like, well, I'm taking my money somewhere else then. How about that? And they're like, oh man, come on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, you're gonna park that fucker between the Ferraris, or I'm going somewhere else. So they would say, okay. I'd go inside and I'd be like, hold on, let me go check on my car, and they moved that shit.
Oh
I'm like, I got some taken somewhere else. By then, I spent a lot of money, and they seen it, so they would bring that fucker back and park. Dude, they would have a frown on their face because they put the Ferraris and Bentleys and stuff in high end,
the Lamborghinis and all that shit.
And then they had this 2002 Honda Sonata. And when I tell you it was beat up, like literally, I sideswiped like the construction barrels backed over a stop sign. I had like bacon sheet pans in it. I back over and pull the e-brake and slide through parking lots and stuff because front wheel drive. So like this car was like my beater car. We would jump it and stuff. So the whole front bumper was off of it. And people all the time. So we got to know these strippers one time. Listen, this fucked up shit. So these strippers, I'm blowing all this money, smoking through it. And so I'm smoking through the money. We're having a good time in the strip clubs and they're getting to know me. And they're like, hey, we shut the strip club down. I think like 4 or 5 in the morning. And they're like, hey, meet us at the diner to go get some meat. You hungry? We're like, yeah, we'll meet you at the diner. So they're at the diner before we get there, and they're pulling in. So they're all like, and I pull up, and we all hop out of this 2002 Honda Sonata, and they're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, well, what's wrong? Like, you don't like my car? And they're like, dude, you done blown probably a couple $100,000 this whole time we've met you, and you're driving that fucking thing? And I'm like, what's wrong with my fucking car? And they're like looking at us like confused, and I'm thinking to myself like, what's wrong with my car? What does my car matter? And I told them the story, and they're like, oh, we get it. But they're like, nobody we've ever met blows this kind of money.
And drives a 2002.
And I would drive that fucker from Florida to Atlanta, right? So this happened in Atlanta. So I'm up in Atlanta, and they're like, you drove this thing from Florida? I'm like, dude, don't ever insult my car again. So anyways, they are just blasted, because these are all BMF, Big Meech's girls.
Oh, shit.
So this is like 09-ish, you know what I'm saying? Like 2008, 09-ish. And this is Big Meech just got hit years prior. And they're like, who the fuck are all the weirdos will be like, damn, everybody's talking about y'all. Like, who up here blowing this kind of money? And y'all are white boys, not even from here. Like, you know, they knew he wasn't. So we got to know the girls pretty good. So I got this big ass house. This story, I never told this one. So I got this huge house, 3 stories. We got like a 3-story stripper pole in this thing. It's cathedral ceiling that had this thing. So we get the stripper pole, and it goes all the way up. So we just moved in this thing.
The stripper pole goes all the way up to the roof?
Yeah, so I had to build sleeves in this thing to keep the stripper pole come out.
Fuck, that's
so.
wild.
Anyways, we bring these strippers over, right? So we bring them over, and so it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and so we pull up. We both, me and my buddy, got a S63. He's got S63 C, and or not C, but the SL or CL or whatever, and I had the S, just the S series. And we have them all, and the girls show up, and we're pulling up. So we both got these brand new Mercedes, $1 million house, gated community, and I got no furniture in this house. All I got's a couch, and all our beds are on the floor and shit because we just moved in and we haven't had a chance to get mattresses are on the floor, and our suitcases is our thank you, yeah. So anyways, we open the door and we're letting the girls go in first. And this house is this huge house, and it's empty. It's got one little couch. So the first girl goes in, takes a couple steps. The second one goes in. The first one backs up, starts backing into the second one. I'm thinking, like, what the fuck's going on?
They're
I'm
worried.
like, what's going like that?
Like, yo,
and they're like looking and like trying to get out the house. And we're like, what's the problem? And they're like, there's no furniture in there. Hey, I'm not even thinking. I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do anything? And they're like, you're not going to kill us, are you? And I'm thinking, like, she's like, listen, we don't know you like that. You invite us back, and we go into this house. There's no furniture. It's empty. Like, what are you going to do with us? So, you know, and I'm not thinking, you know, like, so we just, you know, it's just crazy shit, dude. I had 5 houses all over the place, cars, you know, we had helicopters, planes.
You had a helicopter?
My co-defendant had a helicopter, dude. We landed that fucker in the front yard of his house one time at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I could tell you stories. He would drop that thing down everywhere. Like, if he was hungry, I got a picture of it in the parking lot beside KFC. He's thirsty, so he drops it down behind a gas station parking lot.
That's the craziest shit.
I mean, I got a story. I can't tell them all right now. I promise they'll come out later, but I can't tell them right now, and there's
Jason,
a reason why it is.
We have to do a part 2. This is crazy.
Okay.
So
I haven't even gotten into the pill game yet.
I know. No, we haven't even gotten into the trial.
No, we haven't gotten into nothing.
We'll pick it up in part 2 from the trial.
Okay, we'll do that again. Stay tuned, guys. I promise you it's going to get good.
Part 2. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing your dream, life is meaningless. Say goodnight to the bad guy. Till the next time. So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.